Yes, certainly.
Right, basically, I came to Nottinghamshire Police in 2003 with allegations about someone that was known to my family and what's now the current operations Daybreak, Exeries and Equinox. The child abuse scenario that's going to be looked at in the inquiry in October this year. As part of that, the police in Nottinghamshire failed me. It got sent to the IPCC, who bounced it back to Nottingham's professional standards. Now, the officers involved, one of them was involved in Operation Daybreak. Funny enough, which we see this scenario popping up all the time now. The reinvestigation took over 2 years, and it wrapped up in the very same week that the CPS made the decision about my rapist, the former director of social services for the East Midlands, one Alan Smith. Now, throughout me coming into this, I was in dialogue with Nottinghamshire Police. A lot of aggravation between the City of Rochester, New York's police, because Nottinghamshire Police were telling me that they were trying to set up an interview via Interpol, and that was the only way they could interview me. Well, lo and behold, I've got all the documentation, because you don't have to go through freedom of information in the state of New York. You go and ask for it, and more often than not, you've got it within 48, 72 hours. Well, I've got all my stuff connected to that, but the thing is, those officers from the original investigation that were involved in the current investigation, there's a lot of collusion and corruption that's gone on. That will be looked at in the inquiry, but it all comes down to what we know that you refer to as the strategic partnerships that you have. Right? These strategic partnerships, let me explain to you that in Nottingham, when they've had safeguarding meetings, when survivors have come forward, what they've done, they've broke my human rights, my civil rights, and the rights of the survivors, and they've shared my evidence whilst they're investigating the very people. And what they've done, they've been able to cover up. Now, part of that cover up, right, they told me that the perpetrators in my case didn't exist. Well, I'm a very stubborn person, and I won't go away. And in the very archives where some of my documentation connecting me to Milner, I found that man did not only exist, but also a place where I was sent to in Somerset did exist, because Nottinghamshire Police said that there was no record of me ever being sent to restore a police court. All that was on my PNC record was an appeals court thing where I was granted absolute discharge. Now, you being policemen know that if someone goes to appeal court and is granted an absolute discharge, what does that mean? Not guilty, doesn't it? So, in 1967, I was fitted upon false charges to basically silence me from exposing what was going on. And during my time at many establishments, Milner was there. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of that, because that's to go into an evidence statement, and that can be done under the guidelines of PACE. Now, I have, over several periods of time, with Nottingham City Council and Nottinghamshire County Council, through the Chief Executive Ian Courier, a woman called Candida Brunel, who's I believe she's the PA to the elected leader, John Collins, through Alison Michalska. She's the director for social services now, who was brought into Nottingham after a cover-up in Humberside. Now also with Anthony May at the County Council, who was the head of Children's Services, is now Chief Executive, Steve Edwards and Pam Rossiter at the County Council. I went through what we termed as a chronology, my memories. Now, Aston Hall, to virtually all the survivors that I know, we knew it as kids, as an annex. Now, I know of, maybe not the names, but there was lots of kids trafficked from Nottingham Children's Home to Aston Hall. Nottingham City Council owned Aston Hall, a fact that I don't know whether you're aware. They employed Dr. Milner. We've got documentary evidence that proves this. To that end, Aston Hall is not going to go away. I'm going to battle it to try and ensure that this goes in to the IICSA inquiry. I can't discuss other stuff that I know because of prejudicing what could come forward. But what happened was with me, when my case wrapped up with the CBS, all of a sudden, all this paperwork I've now got, which was being withheld, that backed up my timeline almost date perfect. My memory is graphic and clear. And lo and behold, what do I have in front of me? I have a report from Dr. Milner at Aston Hall. Basically, originally all, I'm just going to use that as one example. Kids would go on Monday morning to Aston Hall, and they come back on Friday afternoon, and then another lot will go on Friday afternoon and come back on the Monday afternoon. It was all organised. To that end, there's no way that the upper echelons of the Nottingham Children's Department, i.e. at the City Council's ones at 126, 128 Mansfield Road, or the County Councils at County Hall, there's no way the upper echelons of those departments didn't know. So I'm telling you now that it was conspiratorial. And to that end, when I do give my evidence, there is someone alive that maybe can be held to account for the conspiracy. I put all this stuff into the Truth Project, and as a consequence of that, Operation Hydrant contacted Derbyshire NHS and Carolyn at NHS Derbyshire, and as she was in the process of contacting me, there was an IICSA event, what we call a stakeholders event in Nottingham, and we just had, it wasn't luck, it was destined to happen. We came in contact with each other. I made her aware of the fact that when I got that documentation, when my case with the CBS closed, that I contacted Derbyshire Police, and when I did contact them, unlike Nottingham and other police forces, I had to go through telling all my stuff to a police operator, not a trained police officer. At that time, I was quite triggered and angry, and I don't believe that I should have been put through that. But notwithstanding that, an officer came back to me and basically told me, Milner's dead, so you might want to contemplate a civil claim, and that was it. When we come down to my meeting with Carolyn from the NHS and Dr. Andrew Rayner, it's put that we need to put my stuff into Derbyshire Police, because I actually bring quite a little bit more to the table than maybe other people's memories do, because my memory is graphic and clear, and I can back it up with some documentation. Lo and behold, I get told by Andrew Rayner, and it was backed up by Carolyn, the director from NHS Derbyshire, that it's alleged that I've been interviewed. Well, I resent somebody lying about me. I've had lies told about me by Nottinghamshire Police, the lies could stem from DC on Operation Daybreak telling me that I'm going to be interviewed, my papers are going off to the CPS. Right, for my case wrapping up with Nottingham, I had to battle with the ex-chief constable Chris Eyre to get my papers to be sent to the CPS for over a year. So imagine the battle I've gone through. Well, I'm not having none of that bullshit. I'm angry, but I can contain my anger because this year we've got an inquiry, and those that have violated me, and I do feel violated, I'm going to do my level best to hold them to account. I find it very inappropriate, right, that some of my stuff was discussed with Dr. Andrew Rayner, and that it was suggested that Andrew Rayner take my evidence and maybe email it across. That to me, and I'm not a lawyer, but I would say that was a violation of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act. And to that end, gross professional misconduct by a serving police officer. And to that end, I ain't having it. I know it was yourself. I did say to Mr. Bennett, after stuff that was discussed between David Hollis and your crime commissioner, and I believe David's had some conversation with you. I don't have an issue with you, and I need to make that perfectly clear. What has been fed back to me is that we did have a superintendent on Operation Equinox called Adrian Pearson. Through the corrupt stuff between the councils, utilising the strategic partnership, he got removed. That man was the first person that engaged with survivors, and to that end, I'll say thank you for your time. I've heard all the apologies, time and time again. This is a 15-year battle for me that hopefully will end in October. I'm not happy about your actions. You know, I think it's disgusting.
Okay, can we put a little bit of context from our side then?
Yeah.
Because I do think that perhaps there's been some miscommunication, should I say? But if you will, hear us out. Very grateful for the background there, particularly around Nottinghamshire Police and the history that
we've
had
just stop you for a moment, because Nottinghamshire Police now. It's an extension, really, of Astor is an extension of what should have been the Nottingham investigation. Right? I believe it's the corrupt practices within the strategic partnership as to why Astor isn't involved. You see, they argue that it's a Derbyshire problem. Maybe it is, because it's in Derby. But just for the record, can you tell me where Risguill is? What county it's in? It's in Derbyshire. So to that end, they can include Risguill because it doesn't involve the bigger picture. I mean, we've got MPs that are not even being investigated, like Kenneth Clark.
It's really difficult for us to comment on what Nottinghamshire do. We're not involved in Nottinghamshire, we're not part of Nottinghamshire Police. But it was very helpful to you to provide that background for us. Now, you mentioned a few things specific to Derbyshire there, and Paul's here, because I think it was important that you get together so you can ask him whatever questions you want to, and he'll tell you exactly what happened. But the first contact that I understand that we had with you from an Aston Hall investigation perspective was last year, when there was contact with you, albeit over... July 16th, where you were spoken to by an investigator, Alan Gilbert, who took an account from you.
Is this the person that was the police operator that took my details and said he was going to email them across?
Well, I don't know who you spoke to initially, but you were spoken to by an investigator within the investigation team.
Well, the only conversation that I had was where I conveyed my contact with Warner, and yeah, we'll put it as an allegation, because that's all it is until proven, of what had gone on with Milner, the sexual assault. Basically, I was told Milner was dead, and you might want to see a lawyer. Well, it's not enough.
No, well, certainly not. There's been an active investigation into Aston Hall.
Not from my end.
Yeah. So, after they've taken your account from that point, now I do understand where you've said that you made a request, didn't you, for an officer to come and see you when through Dr. Rayner.
It was done through Caroline, the director of NHS, and Andrew worked together.
Yes, and if I remember rightly, it was that you wanted to see a female officer.
That's correct.
Yep. And the information that was passed through to Dr. Rayner, Caroline Green, was that we couldn't supply a female officer at the time. We couldn't, with other demands and with the resources that were available, we couldn't do that. Now, and I think perhaps Paul, if you explain what conversation you had then, just in terms of where you mentioned that you were told that we'd already seen you, and that was the case. We acknowledge we have never seen you. We acknowledge that.
So my question here then is, why would it be conveyed to two professionals that I'm actively working with? I can say actively working with because of my trauma, not only from childhood, but some of the abuse that I've endured from Nottingham City Council. I am the one that put my head above the parapet to expose what was going on. I'm not the one that brought the inquiry to Nottingham, it's the action group that I created. Most of the credit to that belongs to David Olson, retired Army Colonel. But no, we're at the business end now. We're most of the inquiry, and well.
Okay, well, we just focus on that bit, because I know that was one of your complaints, wasn't it? That you'd had some information to say that we'd seen you and we hadn't.
So why would Andrew and Caroline be told that I've been interviewed? And I've been formally interviewed. Now, a formal interview would be no different to my interviews with Operation Daybreak and Operation Equinox and Exeries at a police station, and video recorded. I've never physically seen an officer from Derbyshire. You're the first officers from Derbyshire Police in the Aston Hall investigation that I've seen. So, it's not a misunderstanding.
Well, if we could explain it, if that's okay.
The conversation that I had with Andrew Rayner was around contact that had been made through yourself, through Andrew, for us to come and see you. And it focused on me wanting to see a female officer. Now, it was a very short time span, as in it needed to be, I think it was the next day. Andrew spoke to me and said, can we do it? I said, I haven't got a female officer available, okay? And wrong terminology. I said, Mr. Summers has been seen as part of the investigation previously. Now, wrong word, I've used the word seen, and Andrew's taken that as literal meaning, you've been seen as in officers come out to see me. What I'm referring to is, we've spoken to you over the phone, which was by Alan Glover, and an initial account has been taken from you at a time when, in 2016. So, I've had the conversation with Andrew that, I've used the wrong terminology in saying seen, and taken literally as we've been out and seen you. What I meant was we've taken an initial account from you. I said that we can't get an officer that quickly because we haven't got availability, because the officers within that team have got other investigations ongoing and we simply couldn't do it. I've then asked him to liaise with DS Judge, who's DS on the investigation, to say, initially, what additional information is it that you're bringing forward through Andrew? Is there an additional information?
Oh, nice.
And if so, then we can make arrangements to come and see you. So I've never said we won't see you. I accept that the word terminology that I've used, I've said seen, Andrew's taken that literally, and that's been then portrayed to yourself as they've already been and seen you. that's my mistake. I used the word seen. I probably should have said we've spoken to him as part of the investigation, and then Andrew wouldn't take it to literally good to see him.
Basically, my interpretation from speaking to that officer after my initial call was Milner's dead, right? And it was implied, not said, that the investigation was wrapping up. So, like, my interpretation and my beliefs, even at this moment in time, is like Derbyshire Police want to wrap this up, and like at the end of the day, like just like Nottingham, like they want it to go away, but it's not going to go away because my MP Lillian Greenwood is fully in the loop of this. I'm having a meeting with Lillian and multiple other people tomorrow. The contents of today will be divulged to Lillian, and this is going to go to the Justice Ministry because like this is not acceptable by a police force in the modern era.
Okay. Just going back to that, when you're originally spoken to by the officer over the phone, that was at a time when I wasn't involved in the investigation at that point, okay, but what they were doing at that point was gathering everybody's account, getting an initial account from everybody that had come to talk to us or wanted to talk to us about Aston Hall to see what have we actually got here, what is the investigation, where does it need to go. That now totals 108 people that we've taken an account from, and some of them we've followed up where they've made specific allegations, sexual assault by individuals at Aston Hall. So we've carried on with those and taken accounts around those. Now, in relation to that, we've never said we won't come and see you. We will come and see you. It's just about getting that organised. My understanding is that DS Judge spoke with Andrew Rayner and said, if you speak to Mr Summers, can you come back to us and tell us what additional information is he bringing to us? And at that point, when DS Judge has then spoken to Andrew Rayner again, Andrew said to us, Mr Summers doesn't want to divulge that information to you.
I'm not going through stuff with a psychiatrist I'm involved in who's currently reassessing my complex chronic PTSD. It's inappropriate. It's also a violation of my rights and violation of PACE, like for me to put that through a third party.
Well, there was never a request to Andrew Rayner to secure evidence. At all. This was because we couldn't come and see you. At that point, the next best thing was to say, "Well, is there anything else that you want to tell us that we don't already know?" So we can capture that as quick as we can, and then with a view, of course,
which implied that like you like Andrew Rayner to convey what else I bring to the table.
Only in that period where we couldn't see you, but the intention was, which is DS Judge tried to follow up after, to come and see you.
To that end.
So I can see it from your perspective. I really can.
Mine is not an angry, biased way of looking at it. When I have a very credible person that State Our Action Group, I believe you had that dialogue with David. And your crime commissioner had dialogue. When David sees it in the same manner that I do, for me to say like something more it can be shrugged off. For someone else to agree with me, it's a coincidence. But you know what? When the whole group of us that form this action group that have brought the inquiry to Nottingham see things the same way, then like something's wrong, and there is something wrong.
I mean, the investigation, as you know, is still live from 2016 with Derbyshire. We've, as Paul has said, we've investigated and seen and spoken and seen to over 100 people. So it's been a thorough investigation. Now, we want to move forward with it, and we want to secure your evidence. It was always the intention to see you. So I'm hoping that from today we can do that. You've got some, hopefully, a little bit more. It may take some time, I know, a bit of confidence with us in relation to that we do want to see. We want to hear exactly what you've got to say, because this investigation isn't just about Dr. Milner, this is about Aston Hall. And we...
And those that conspired with him.
Yeah, well, the investigation is beyond Dr. Milner, it's Aston Hall, because from our perspective, yes, we know he's dead. but who else is alive today that was part of it? You know, so
Listen, I will bring to the table a key player involved in Nottingham, and at this moment in time, because I'm not doing it under the guidelines of PACE in a video interview, right, it would be subjudice, right, in a defence barrister's mind, that if I discuss this outside the parameters of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, right, I've got one chance to get this person. It's personal, but when I do meet with Derbyshire Police, I'll bring several pieces of the jigsaw to you, and I'm hoping, and everything that we've done, we've hit brick walls along the way for the last 5 years. In my case, going back further, for a decade. But every time we've hit brick walls, we've got back up, dusted ourselves off, and we've opened the can of worms even more. Well, I don't have a problem being interviewed on the PACE to take my evidence. What has been suggested, and David spoke to your crime commissioner, I believe he spoke to you.
I've not spoken to David.
I understood that he spoke to you.
I've not spoken to David.
It must have been through the crime commissioner.
Okay.
Or is it Julie?
Yes, Julie, yeah.
Your PA? Because we have taken an officer not dissimilar to the former Superintendent Adrian Pearson that was launched out of Nottingham. Because we now have a point of engagement, we've highlighted that there's very little communication with other survivors. We believe that through yourself we've found a gateway that we can move forward with, and to that end I would be asking that you become proactive. I have a proactive involvement moving my stuff forward. If that's okay, we'll move it forward.
Well, we want to secure your evidence. We want to hear what you've got to say, not just about Dr. Milner, but ask them all. We want to hear it, and
its connections to Nottingham.
Yeah. Well, we'll hear all of your evidence. We'll hear it, and if it's part of our investigation, we'll take it. If it's not, then you'll have some assurance from us that it'll be forward to Nottingham.
Well, we have no faith in Nottingham because...
Well, we can't investigate.
But what I need to bring back to the beginnings is Nottingham was aware of it under the banner of their strategic partnership, which I will say to you is nothing short of a criminal cartel, right? Where we've had the likes of Superintendent Alan Chamberlain coming back to Loxley House, the head office of Nottingham City Council, to safeguarding meetings, discussing people's evidence, right? Listen, this shouldn't have been happening. They've used safeguarding laws as if I was a child under 18 or a vulnerable adult under 25, right, to share my evidence. Well, right, what faith do I have in Nottinghamshire Police? Well, I'll tell you, I'll look in there and tell you, they're as much use as an extra on a motorbike. Right, the Nottingham connection, right, as far as I'm concerned, if Derbyshire Police can't deal with the Nottinghamshire side of it, because it involves a Nottinghamshire person, well, the connection to Nottingham is the individual, right, and Arsenal, which will become quite graphically clear. If you can't deal with it, we have no faith in Nottinghamshire Police whatsoever. They're a cartel involved in the cover-up. So my request would be that maybe it's a case that maybe the National Crime Agency needs to handle it.
Well, what assurance I can give you is we want to hear your evidence, we want to secure your evidence, we'll hear exactly what you've got to say. You know the PCC's involved as well, and all we can do is just hear that and then take it from there.
Okay, well,
you know, so I'd like to, what's happened, put it behind us, and we accept, we acknowledge we haven't seen you, we acknowledge that we've perhaps used the wrong word in that people have misunderstood, and that's been conveyed to yourself. And also, it's when we had the short notice to provide an officer to see you. If we'd had an officer, none of this would have happened.
They didn't have that. Listen, I'm not going anywhere. Like, it didn't have to be the next day, but hey, we're months down the line, right?
Can I pass your email address to our investigating officer, the sergeant on the unit, to contact you and then arrange a date to come and see you?
I'm an open book. I've got nothing to hide.
Yeah, brilliant.
Great. Like, if you need my email address, you've got my phone number.
I've got your email address. I've got your phone number. I just want your permission to pass it on to him.
You don't need my consent, because there is one other matter that I need to raise. When I got the information from Andrew Rayner and Carolyn, I need to tell you that I was very angry.
Yeah.
I phoned 101.
Yeah.
Got through to Derbyshire Police. I wanted to lodge a formal complaint about that. Now, the officer, because he was a senior officer that I was lodging a complaint about, said that she would need to put me through to a sergeant. Now, a sergeant rang me, took some details, but he said that he couldn't take all of the details, so he would have to pass it straight on to professional standards. Now, about 5 or 6 days later, I phoned professional standards, and guess what? Just like Nottingham, they had no record, which is at the point where I started kicking off Andrew Rayner, Caroline Green, David Hollis was kicking off at your crime commissioner. Like, this to me, like, is bullshit, just like Nottingham. Like, how can a 101 operator take a complaint that escalates to a sergeant who speaks to me and tells me it's going to professional standards? Yet when I phone professional standards, there's no record. It's just like Nottingham. So to me, this is history repeating itself.
Okay, so I can look into that for you.
And to that end, I'm going to kind of wrap this up, because I think the whole matter needs to be forwarded to the IPCC.
Okay, well,
that is my final decision. I have no faith in your professional standards, because I went through the system via 101, contacted your professional standards, they have no record, so the whole element of everything has escalated because of things disappearing within professional standards. It's a repetition of Nottingham, and I've discussed it with not just David, who's discussed it with your crime commissioner, and to that end, we feel, and it's not just my decision, we feel that it's appropriate that this part of stuff be sent by your crime commissioner. I'm more than happy to meet your crime commissioner, and it gets sent to the IPCC, so that the IPCC look at it.
Right, so if I can just clarify then, what we've spoken about today in terms of the complaints that you had, well, we've now given some context to it. Is that what you're still wanting to complain about, or is that part of
I want the matter forwarded to the IPCC, because I need to ensure that today's dealt with, but I need to be perfectly clear in my mind that the history, more so around this matter of Aston, does not repeat itself. I'm act off that there's been little dialogue by your police force with survivors. There's been a lot of dialogue between David and your crime commissioner that's shifted it round a bit, but my history with your police force goes back to 2016. I feel failed, and rightly so. We can move forward with it, but sandwiched in between it is this matter, and I'll give it a lot of thought. But I will say one thing, I thank you for taking your time to be a man, because you know what? There ain't many men in the Nottinghamshire Police Force, and to that end, I will say thank you. And I've already made my mind up a long time ago that should anything like this arise, and you can blame this on the bullshit that I've had to deal with Nottingham, that is what's driving me to make the decision that I deem it appropriate that this goes to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. And I'll be instructing my Member of Parliament for this constituency to take this to the Ministry of Justice.
Okay. Absolutely, you're entitled to do that, you are. But again, just for some clarity, we've come to speak to you today in relation to those specifics that you're not happy about, in terms of the conversations and saying that we'd seen you when we hadn't, and that. and in addition, of course, to move it forward so we can secure your
We
evidence.
can move forward now.
Great. So from a complaint perspective, can we be satisfied that that part of it is dealt with, but you want the IPCC to consider the whole investigation, Nottinghamshire and...
No. This element from 2016 till today, right, how I've been treated by Derbyshire Police, right, I want the whole package looked at by the IPCC. Right, Nottinghamshire is being looked at by the inquiry. Derbyshire doesn't form part of the inquiry yet, but there will be submissions further down the line by my legal team to attempt to incorporate Astronaut, because it was the annex to many children's homes and the preschools run by the Nottingham City and the County Council. But at a later date, I will work with you relentlessly, and I hope that, well, I know that I'll bring several pieces of jigsaw with me, and God willing, they'll fit some of the gaps that you've got to give you a wider picture.
Okay.
And like I say, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We can have a further conversation down the line.
Right.
What I will say is that David Hollis, with the exception of one interview with Nottinghamshire Police, he's been my advocate in every interview. Just like a Mackenzie friend, we know that he can't involve himself in me giving evidence, but he's there as my support person.
Yeah.
And to that end, I'll be asking you to liaise with David. We'll give you David's full details, and let's move forward.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, just in terms of the complaint side, I can record everything, and
We'll send you a copy.
well, I can forward it through to the Professional Standards Department.
I want it to go through. I want it to go.
Well, yes, there's a process to do that. You can do it yourself, by all means. But if you want to make a formal complaint to us, then I'm quite happy to record all that.
Yeah, I want it recorded. And
Okay.
what we'll do is send you a copy of this.
Yeah.
This will go to my solicitors into the inquiry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll go back and I'll record it, and then it'll get forwarded through to the Professional Standards Department, and then I will put in there in terms of what the conversation we've had about moving forward and what we've spoken about, and we'll go from there. Then.
Well, but once again, you know, I requested that you come out. I applaud Chief Superintendent Nemeth. I applaud yourself, because you know what, this is something new that you have to thank the likes of Chris Hare, the former Chief Constable of Nottingham, for the way I feel about these things. And my failures of 15 years, that's a quarter of my life gone fighting this. And it took me to some dark places, and I think some of the dialogue that I've had with Mr. Nemeth, I think you might get a bigger picture. This stuff doesn't go away. You know, and let's move it on.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.